Professor Dave, let's get to climate change. Did you see Jerome Powell was talking about the jobs data, jobs report or something? And did you see the climate activists storm the stage?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it. Give me a quick thumbnail sketch.
Oh man. How about, I think it'd be better if I show it to you. It was pretty funny. So I don't know exactly what this was for, but Jerome Powell was giving a speech and the climate activists stormed the stage, and Jerome Powell had a little mic slip, but check it out. I'm gonna share it right here.
Market remains tight.
Can you see that?
Although improvements in most forecasters, we expect growth to moderate in coming quarters. Of course.
Jerome Powell, by refusing to treat climate change like a systemic risk,
thank you.
You are putting us at
Thank you very much.
disaster.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Just close the fucking door.
Did he say that? Did he say just close the fucking door?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. That's great. Just close the fucking door.
Yeah.
They should glue their lips shut. Glue them to the bumper of a bus. I don't know. The way to understand climate change is to read Eric Hoffer's 1953 book, The True Believer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great book. It's a brilliant book. These are people who lack meaning in their lives, and they're looking for some way to get meaning. And so they attach themselves to something they perceive to be this big grand thing, and now they get to be part of something big and grand.
Mm-hmm.
They're ignorant. I would gladly debate any of them because I would destroy them in a heartbeat. And I did a podcast with Tom Nelson last week, I think it was, on climate change. It was a bunch of stuff, but we were laughing because he's a climate changer. We kind of know each other digitally, and we're just howling at the stupidity of it all. I had a chat with Konstantin Kaysen. There's a bright guy. I was at a meeting last month, and I sat down and chat with him. And he gave
New Orleans last week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Hit me up, man.
He gave a speech at the Oxford Union in a debate that was legendary speech. And I said to him, I said, how long did it take you to cross over from, either agnostic or believing to disbelieve? He said, a couple hours. That's all it takes. All you have to do is actually open your mind and start reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then you discover all the problems with the climate change story. And then what you realize, you go, oh, wait a minute, they lied to me again. Why? $150 trillion. That buys a lot of lies. So, give me part of the narrative and I'll tell you why it's complete crap.
Yeah, it just feels like, a lot of those activists, like you said, they're just wanting to belong to something, and they don't realize that, there's people behind the scenes pulling the strings, but it's kind of a shame because, there are true environmentalists. They are true people that actually, are fighting, big corporations, like RFK Jr., I'd say would be like a true environmentalist.
Yeah,
but like
30 years of that probably.
Running around and throwing oil or throwing paint on buildings, like you're ruining or blocking
paintings.
Yeah,
blocking traffic.
Yeah, you're
that's
really
why they invented. That's why they invented studded tires.
Josh just asked the question, Dave, did you see California essentially ban hand counting ballots for election? Oh, I wonder why. Most secure election of all time, guys. The election was not stolen. It was the most secure election of all time for the YouTube algorithm.
I watched a video the other day of a woman. It's one of these ones I couldn't tell who she was, and I couldn't tell if she really knew what she was talking about. But her claim was that the Italian Secret Service or something had their fingers all over the election. I told someone that, and I said, why would they do that? And I said, well, because all these different governments and agencies and stuff are all intertwined. So if we want to cap some banana republic dictator, we'll go get MI5 or MI6 or Mossad or something to cap them. We don't need to do it. They'll do it for us. And so, like the Steele dossier, right? Same thing. And so, the elections, they're not,
I didn't see that story that he's referring to.
I'm not going to believe another election until they straighten them out because they're total crap.
It's kind of frustrating, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of frustrating. You know, I'm in Louisiana. I'm pretty happy so far, you know, with our governor that was elected.
Right.
So, you know, I hate to think like this, but in a sense of what's going on right now, the states govern themselves. So like as long as your state is good, you're going to be kind of insulated from the craziness. But I hope that, you know, people see the state's doing well and try to emulate that. Cody asked another question. He said, okay, last question. This one is serious. I know that you don't want to touch Israel with a 40-foot stick, but what do you believe Netanyahu's best option is from this point forward?
I'm not pleading the fifth on this. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know much. You know, it's interesting with Netanyahu. You know, you're seeing that even Yuval Noah Harari coming out and saying that Netanyahu, I guess, like the way their government's set up,
They should vaccinate him with a drip, with an IV drip
for his safety.
Until you get the desired biomedical result.
Did you see? I seen you had posted about the Biden and DHS claim there's no disaster at the border.
Yeah, he's a liar. Mayorkas.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a liar. I just finished a book on the border. You interview anyone who's been on the border. Kennedy, even that's the interesting thing about Kennedy is he's not only a quick learner, but he can change his mind very quickly. And it's not a political change.
Mm-hmm.
It's from data.
Yeah.
And he went down to the border and came back and said, "Holy shit, build a wall."
Mm-hmm.
And he said that there's about 2% Hispanics coming over the border, and the rest are from faraway places. Mm-hmm. This border, and this year I'm trying to write about pedophilia networks and their influence on geopolitics. Mm-hmm. So my theory is that Epstein's just tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah.
And that geopolitical events are being steered and guided by pedophilia-based blackmail and things like that constantly. And the number of kids disappearing coming across the borders nearing 100,000 a year. Where are they going? They're not going to trailer parks.
Well, not a peep from about that, you know, from our mainstream media, unfortunately, either. You know, it's
because they're going into the basements of CEOs and presidents of countries and stuff.
It's a big club.
I have dug into the pedophilia networks, and it's a very dark and bizarre world when you dig into it, because you're not going to get some article out of USA Today telling you what's going on. You have to get used to reading very odd source material. You have to get used to listening to interviews of people who are reformed, who sort of pulled away from the network. Mm-hmm. And put their lives back together. And as a consequence, they're probably crackheads and prostitutes, and some of them have split personalities, right? Because at 5 or 6 years old, they got sucked into this network. They're broken individuals. So you got broken individuals testifying against and pointing fingers at globally prominent individuals. Like one woman who's a woman named Annika Lucas, for example, is a well-known sort of rehabilitated victim. Mm-hmm. She talks about being heavily occupied. They get passed around, but they tend to have particular suitors. And so she said, two-time prime minister of Belgium was her sugar daddy when she was 6 years old. Others talk about the prime minister head of Australia. There's people who pointed fingers at Gerald Ford and George Bush Sr. Mm-hmm. This is serious stuff.
Oh, if you want to see crazy, you know, obviously everybody knows about, you know, Epstein Island all over the news, but Epstein had a ranch, I believe, in New Mexico called Zorro Ranch. And man, they got some documentaries on that, you know, from independent journalists. And man, it is like the creepiest, like you couldn't even make a scary movie that would be creepier than this, you know?